What is up, and welcome in to the Easy Smoke and the GM podcast. I'm your host, Ezra McCann, and I'm joined, as always, by my outstanding co-host. He's a Chicago Public League legend. He's a Simeon legend. He's a Grambling State Tiger legend. Played second base for them back in the day. He was all swag. It's Brandon Williams, a.k.a. Coach Smoke. And we've got the NFL Draft analyst for NBC Sports Chicago. You can catch all this work on the network, the Under Center podcast. Football night in Chicago. He is Glenn Morgan, our GM. Gentlemen, rough weekend for your boy here, man. Wait. Let me say it again. It started off pretty good. Got a big win by the Caravan over St. Rita. Got a nice win for Kim Wood over Simeon. Sorry, Smoke. Sorry about that. Big win. My Hampton Pirates were down 17 in the second half to our arch rival Howard. Came back and won 35-34. Big win for the Pirates. And then Sunday.
Only for the Bears to dump
the
on
Bears. Oh, my God. There's no coming back from this, man. They suck.
I'm glad you were able to enjoy some aspect of your weekend. My Tennessee Volunteers embarrassed themselves down in the swamp and didn't want to pick a fight at the end. It was so nonsensical. It was the stupidest thing I've ever seen. I mean, what was that? Just go home. I mean, at that point, why are you trying to just go? What you gonna do? That was stupid. Only be compounded by my idiocy on the bowling lane. Oh my God. Look, that was so bad. We're lucky we won, despite how bad I bowled.
What, you rolled a 210 instead of a 220? What?
No, let's just say if you have a 600 series, that means you're averaging 200. I didn't break 500. Yeah, exactly. Your boy was garbage. Only thing worse than the Bears was me on the bowling lanes. And then the Bears. I mean, come on, man. I mean, the best part of my evening, my weekend was the wife and the two kids here at home. We went to go see Hamilton downtown, and that was at least the bright spot of my entire weekend.
Was that your first time seeing it?
I saw it on Disney, but first time seeing it live.
Live? Good show.
Yeah. No, excellent show. Excellent show.
Yeah.
Good stuff. So let's talk about that because the Bears stunk. Yeah. So apparently we've got mixed weekends all around. What about you, Smokers? Your weekend good or what?
Not really. Went to tournament in Indy. Started out with a 9-0 shutout loss. That pretty much ended our weekend. Had to win our pool to make bracket play. It was only a 2-game. It's only a 3-team pool. You lose the first game 9-0, you're pretty much done.
What is run differential a part of the equation there? Or?
Well, record. So the next team in our pool was trash. We blew them out.
Okay.
And once we saw them, we knew they wasn't going to beat the team that beat us. So yeah, finished the weekend 2-1. But
that's not bad.
But losing the first game, eliminating yourself from bracket play is demoralizing. That's and then on top of the game that really didn't mean anything versus a team in Chicago, which we could have just came home early and sat and watched the Bears game. I was watching it while coaching. So it was it was just, at least we were winning. I'll say that. At least we were winning.
This weekend. I mean, look at this one, man. Your boys played. They could have not played the other 2 games. They could have just been demoralized from the first game. This way, they care and they had some fortitude and some intestinal fortitude. So that's a good thing. I see some sunshine with that. Yeah.
That is true.
So now that we got all the nice stuff out the way, and we've been avoiding the elephant in the room. The Bears.
I was expecting something. Now, remember before the season started, we were talking with Sean Sierra, and I said, hey, if this team wins 8 games, I will be ecstatic. I'll be happy. Mm-hmm. That will be a great season for this team because I didn't expect much from this team, right?
As a reasonable fan, that makes sense.
Yeah, but I did expect at least some type of progress from the offense.
We got 15 games left, man. Come on, bro.
Man, this does not look like an NFL offense right now. It doesn't look like a college offense. I don't know what we're looking at right now.
I'm just trying to understand what are we trying to prove?
Exactly.
And I put a nice amount of this on Justin as well.
Absolutely.
You're trying to prove to the world that you can be this pocket passer, and you're making an ass out of yourself as well because you're looking trash back there. You know, I think the scheme is god awful, but I think he has his faults. Is it as much on him as the fans and all that stuff try to make it? Hell no.
Oh, Justin?
Is it as much on him as everyone trying to make it out to be? To me, it's not. I think he's part of the blame. I think he's part of the problem, but I don't think he's the problem.
I think the honeymoon is over.
I mean,
we gotta start calling a spade, and right now Justin's not living up to what
it's racist. It's racist.
I get that, but I understand that, but that's everyone's go-to right now. Justin. Okay, bring Caleb Williams in here with that same.
Oh no!
He's gonna look just as
it's
trash.
Not just Justin, but we got to give the right amount, the right percentage of blame to what's going on with the offense to the quarterback. We do. Yeah, we can't treat him with kid gloves no more.
No. He gets about 25% of the blame.
Guys,
a little more than that.
More than that.
More than that, I think the rest go 40%. To the coaches.
I'd go 40, 45, maybe 49%.
So, and then Getsy
gets wait, because you got to blame your head coach too.
That's what I'm saying. That's why
he's in that equation too. So I give Getsy.
So we can go 33, 33, 34.
I'll give Getsy 40% of it, and then I'll give the rest to Eberflus.
You get him the least amount of blame.
Here's my no. I'm saying he's not an offensive coach. I don't expect that much from him. Getsy was brought in here to run this offense, and I know Getsy's a little young. How old do you think Luke Getsy is? 30, in his 26. Late 30s.
Looks like he's about 26. Yeah, in his late 30s.
Okay. I want to tell him something because he's a little young. You know, he may not know as much as he need to about football. Screen passes are a good thing. You know, they're used to keep a team off balance. It should not be the focal point of your offensive scheme. It should not be. And that's all I'm seeing. Every freaking drive, I'm seeing screen here, screen there. And of course, the pick six at the end. Why?
They ran it 3 straight times.
Why?
3 straight times.
That's just ridiculous. Now, if he wants to come out and tell us, hey, I don't trust my quarterback, he can't run this offense, so I got to do this to simplify things, maybe that is the reason, but come on, man. You cannot do that. This offense looks like John Shoop's offense. Remember Shoop?
That's the guy. Yeah, I remember. I couldn't remember a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, that's the guy.
Remember
came from
John
BYU.
Shoop? Well, Shoop, no. You're thinking about Gary Croton.
Oh,
Gary Croton was BYU.
Shoop came in after Croton.
Shoop was after Croton. Yeah, Croton
clean it up.
Croton left for the BYU job, and then Shoop became the coordinator, and he kept running those damn the bubble screens, which didn't work. Which, by the way, I remember being at a Bears training camp, and it wasn't Shoop, but it was whoever the receiver coach was at the time. They were actually practicing throwing the bubble screens, just the quarterbacks and the receivers. And he kept saying, that's an automatic 1-yard gain. Like, that was a great thing to have. I was like, really? I'm like, really? That's what we're doing here? that's what Luke Getsy's offense is looking like right now, and that's not what we were expecting from a guy that was coming from Green Bay. I was expecting him to have, some knowledge of what they were doing and to implement that here a little bit.
Why don't we run slants?
I've been screaming that since last week as well. Yes,
I'm sitting watching like the JT O'Sullivans and Tim Jenkins, and they dissecting these plays, and I'm like, dog, these DBs are like 10 yards off of our receivers. and we're just running to them. Now, granted, guys have gotten open, and we will. I'm sure we're gonna touch on that with Justin clearly missing guys.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to make it easy for them, the slants are there for the taking. I'm sure I can get back there, and if we ran slants, I'll complete a few passes. These DBs have no respect for our
one two release. That's it. 1-2 release.
Like, good Lord. Mm.
I heard all y'all complaining. Heard all y'all this, that. And you're not completely wrong.
Oh, I know that.
But, and I say this with a little bit of hesitation, but with some earnest, watching the game again, watching it through in totality. I haven't gone through all 22 just yet, but just watching the game all the way through. Last week and this week, the Bears, Justin started out well. Last week he started out 5 for 5. This week he started out 2 for 3. And I think they ended up scoring on their first drive, I believe. And went down the field in like 2 minutes and 22 seconds. And Justin did a nice bootleg that was set up by the completions he had and how well the offense was moving the ball downfield. It looked very much like clockwork. So to me, that means that somewhere during the game, they're losing some sense of communication on the field, some sense of communication between what needs to be done and how it's executed out there on the field. And that's where the quarterback becomes the problem. Because as much as we want to blame Getsy for a lot of things, and I do, I think there's that thing you mentioned it early, as maybe there's stuff that we don't know that he's not saying, that he's having to tailor things because Justin's not executing things the way he needs to. There were plays throughout the game that Justin made where he did throw the ball downfield. I mean, and it was weird, they got DJ involved early, then they like forgot about him, and then they got him involved again. But the passes they got to him were downfield. They weren't like the bubble screens. They actually were pushing the ball downfield. The pass to Clayton was like, dude, why aren't you ripping it like that more often? I think that was probably Justin's first read. I think he was comfortable with what was to be expected. And that's the Justin, that pass or just the follow through, the whole, from the time he hiked the ball to completing it to Claypool, that's what we saw more often when he was at Ohio State. For whatever reasons, confidence is lost throughout the game. And the confidence is between Justin and his teammates, between the coaching staff and Justin, and then, all the other things in between all that. Several times this game, players compounded the mistakes with following it with another mistake. There's a drive where the Bears were driving again, and they were looking like they were going to score, and then Justin just had the next 2 or 3 plays were like the worst fucking plays he made that entire day. Like, he ended up getting a sack. There was something else he did where, it's like 3 plays in a row were just bad, ended up going backwards. There's another McCole Kmet at one point was, again, working for the enemy. Cole Kmet, like on 2 plays back to back, with like the worst blocking fundamentals you could ever see.
The one where he left Darnell Wright out to try.
Yes.
Wait.
He went inside of Darnell Wright.
Stayed in to block and then went inside of Darnell Wright, bumped him, And then Darnell Wright lost the block, and I forget who was
Shaq
Barrett.
Shaq
Barrett.
Shaq
Barrett came in and took out Justin Fields. Come on,
Justin didn't have a chance. And then the very next play, Cole Kmet's supposed to be blocking on a bubble screen. Some type of screen. Him and Tunyon were both on the same side. Neither one of them did anything. But Tunyon wasn't as bad because at least he kind of like pushed his guy towards the sideline. Unfortunately, that's where the Bears player was running because Cole Kmet didn't do anything. So the Bears player had to string his run out. He couldn't cut inside anything. He couldn't cut inside any blocks because Cole Kmet didn't even provide one. And there was another play, I think, where he caught the pass. It was a nice, again, this is where Justin makes a great throw on the run to his right, makes a great throw. Cole Kmet makes a great job with his feet, has his hands, and forgot that he wasn't.
Forgot to hold, yeah.
No, forgot that he wasn't in practice. And that the other motherfuckers playing are like, no, it's not a catch.
You got to bring it into your body.
You got to bring it into your body.
Yeah, you got to control the ball there.
Right, but he did it like he was looking good. Like, hey, man, this is good. Yeah, that's great in practice when your teammates aren't going to necessarily crush you, per se. And Tampa Bay flowed to the ball. Their secondary flowed. They played without Carlton Davis yesterday, and they still were making plays in the secondary. Yeah. So there were times where these players were making compound mistakes. Raxton Jones is a problem. It was 2nd and 2 or something like that, or 3rd and 2. He gets in the Bears start. False start. Now it's 3rd and 7. And then right after that, his head so stuck up his ass because he made a mistake. Justin gets sacked in like a heartbeat.
Oh my God! It was he got crushed on a bull rush.
Ridiculous. That wasn't even a bull rush.
That wasn't a bull rush. He went past him.
He just went right past him.
That was the one when Justin got sacked on the back.
If by bull rush you meant the bull was seeing red and he went right past him, then yeah, okay, because he went Olay, then okay, there was a bull rush. But that's what I mean. It was compounded. It's like these guys make a mistake, they get in their heads, and Justin did it. Braxton did. And this is all in the same series. It's not, Cole Kmet did it. And somebody else on offense did it as well. I was writing the names down. And I'm like, why are these dudes compounding their mistakes? And so Getsy did it. Getsy did it with play calls. It's like, dude, you just made a bad situation worse. And so the Bears didn't look bad on offense until they started making these mental mistakes. And then it compounded. And all we're left with remembering is, stupid ass, a screen pass play called the 10-yard line. Like, why are you doing this? And that, like you said earlier, Smooth, that's the 3rd one in a row. Some of these other play calls are done because guys aren't executing it well. And like, there were times like going away from the run. It's like, dude, your running game is working. This guy's averaging 5 yards a carry. Why are you going away from it? There were some times they had some big hit. Some of these times the screen plays work well because they're doing big hit plays, but you can't keep going to it time and time again. The defense, if you're not watching the game and you see what Tampa Bay is doing on 3rd down, if you just look up every now and again, you see the statistics that they have so many yards and in the first quarter, so many yards, you think, this defense is not playing well. Well, when I watched the game, when I was able to really sit down and watch it, I'm like, well, shit, you lost your starting corner or guys in the secondary. Right, you lost both your safeties for the game.
Well,
right.
Brisker came back, but
yeah, but he was towards the end of the game and he wasn't quite right. He was still feeling the effects of the whatever got him ill, heat, whatever. And then you came into the game without Kyler Gordon, and your backup your backup nickelback wasn't available for the game as well. And so guys who are used to seeing, so basically, I thought when you take all that into consideration, they did a really good job. This could have been an ugly game. And they blocked that special teams, but they also blocked 3 points as well. So I'm saying the effort was there. There are things on defense where I'm like, you know what? You're not being successful. Guys are still learning how to coordinate in the secondary. And it was compounded by the guys being gone for that game. That touchdown that Evans got, and Tyreek let him get past him. It's like, dude, you don't have the regular safety back there. You bailed too soon. You know what I'm saying? You need to stick with him a little bit longer. That's something that they're good. That's not going to happen again like that per se. You know what I'm saying? Like there are things that were very correctable that you could tell as like some of his growing pains. I thought Billings played a really good game yesterday. I thought DeMarcus Walker, although he didn't get any sacks, I thought he was very active and did things along the defensive line. I thought again the linebackers, quiet as it's kept, I think they've been consistent in providing good tackling, good coverage in in the middle part of the field. The Bears are getting beat kind of deep, or they're getting beat. I shouldn't say deep, but they're getting beat between the linebackers and the defensive backs. Third down was probably the biggest sin that the defense was committing. They could not get off the field. Baker was 11 for 12 for over 120 yards and a touchdown going into like maybe 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter. So basically for the day, he was killing them on third down.
Yeah.
A lot of third and longs, they were not converting. And that's something that I'm like, okay, some of that's because there's no rush, no doubt. And they missed a couple of, Ngakoue missed 2 sacks. He should have just had he should have had Baker.
You got to put him down.
You got to put him down or at least affect him more so than that, make him throw the ball away or whatever. But in the second half, even without, your main guys in the secondary, there was a series where the Buccaneers went from 9 plays in a punt. The next one was 6 plays in a punt. And the next one was 3 plays in a punt. So, and that was late in the game. You're talking about 94 plus degree weather with 57% humidity, with a heat index of about 108 degrees. I thought that they did well for as long as the fucking defense was out there, because they were out there almost twice as long as the offense was on the field. So that being said, I saw some positive. This team played better than the week before. I know we're talking low bar here, but again, keep in mind, you're talking 7 new starters on defense. Okay. You're talking a lot of new guys and moving parts on offense, and another new guy starting inside your interior for your offensive line, and Tyree Carter. Okay. There are things that I see this team doing better. And even Justin played, it's going to sound weird, played a little bit better than he did the week before. I saw improvement. I shouldn't say he played better per se, but I saw improvement. And he did. He did play a little bit better.
Where'd you see the improvement?
Dude, the touchdown pass, he wasn't throwing a pass like that last week. He threw another pass that we just talked about the dude should have caught along the sidelines. He threw some other passes that you could tell. It's like, dude, this is what we see when we're saying this guy's making good. He has the ability to physically, he has the ability to make these plays. It's the consistency is gone and the confidence isn't there. And the things happen that end up wavering whatever confidence was accruing, and it starts to degrade. And that confidence wavers between Justin and his teammates. Like, these guys aren't holding the blocks. Like, dude, you can't tell me your confidence is not going to waver when it becomes a turnstile and you get sacked as soon as you get the ball. It's like, what the fuck? And then you throw a pass and guys are dropping it, or the guys aren't making it secure in a pass that they could secure, or 2 guys are running into the same area at the same time. That was a cold commit, another brain fart.
It happened many times, though.
Right.
It happened many times.
I don't think that's necessarily the offensive coordinator calling the play wrong. Somehow they're mentally not as prepared as they need to be. And that's on the coaches. That's on the position coaches, and that's on the offensive coordinator. So those are things where Justin's like, and I'm not saying Justin didn't make mistakes. He made a lot of mistakes because he missed a lot of open guys too. Mm-hmm. And now the receivers are like, well, dude, Claypool handled it immaturely last week. He handled it better this week, and he got more involved. But it's like, Claypool and DJ Moore are 2 different mentalities. DJ was like, hey, sometimes it's like that. He can't, I got to do better so he can see me. Claypool's like, why the fuck didn't you see me? But they're both saying the same thing. We weren't seen, and you're there to be open. So now the receiver's confidence isn't necessarily, this doesn't seem, all these things are affecting one another. And so I see that they made some improvements, and some of it's going to be getting used to one another. And unfortunately, you're going to be getting your ass kicked along the way. And we know next week is not going to be any easier on the road against Kansas City. And I'll say this one last thing, because I know I've talked for the longest here, and I apologize to some degree for this, but I talked to my best friend. His name's Joey Logan. We've been friends since we were kids. That's about 5 years of age. And Joey gave me some great insight. because I was trying to figure out what's going on. Like, dude, it's a mystery to me. And I had to get the Scooby-Doo mystery machine out and the Scooby-Doo gang to figure out what this mystery was. And Joey told me what it was, man. He told me exactly what it was. They took the mask off of Getsky and found out that it was Nagy underneath.
Thank you. Thank you for that point right there.
Zoink, Scoob.
Because yes, we had this same talk last year with Justin missing open guys. We mentioned all that last year, but the stuff that I was seeing yesterday from the entire offense was just bad. I'm talking routes are Justin missing throws, missing open guys, offensive line terrible. It's legit a collective effort.
There were times where the offensive line gave him 4 seconds though.
Yes, those are the faults that I'm giving him.
Yeah. Right,
that was 3 times that he held onto the ball and he had guys open. That was 3 on him. It was also 3 or 4 times where receivers were in the same damn spot.
Yeah.
Who are you going to? There was also times where Braxton Jones completely missing blocks or Cole Kmet completely doing whatever the hell he's doing. It's a shit show on that offensive side of the ball. And he's the head of the
running backs.
Except the running back. And he's at the head, Luke Getsy. Like, I get people saying he's trying to simplify things or hide things from Justin. But, though, are you trying to simplify things for everybody? Because clearly all of them guys are lost at times. All of them.
Yeah.
All of them. Not just the quarterback. We want to focus on the quarterback, but all these guys are they're half-ass running routes.
Mm-hmm.
It's bad. It's completely bad all the way around. Like, yeah.
It's a question. Who's the quarterback coach? Do we know?
I don't know.
Because why he's not making Justin move better with his feet is beyond me. And for JT O'Sullivan to point out how laissez-faire, nonchalant Justin is when he, is doing his back pedal is troubling. Because it's like, dude, your timing could be better if you got back there quicker. That extra half second.
Everything looks so slow.
Yeah, well, that's tempo.
When he snaps the ball, why is that?
Tempo, man. I've been watching other games and, to scout all these other teams to see, where the deficiencies may be on these other teams and so on and so forth. But one of the things I've been noticing, I'm like, especially like with the Ravens and even Tennessee, because I'm looking at offenses that run the ball traditionally, and that was our strength last year, running the ball. And Lamar has a new offensive coordinator. Okay, so it's some new stuff there. Tempo, man. I'm like, dude, they're getting to the huddle. They get out. He gets up to the line. He has 10, 12 seconds if he needs to make an adjustment. And when they run their routes, they're not running into each other. They're making quick runs, even if it's like a quick curl or something, because it's not like every pass is deep. Most of these passes guys are making are, in the less than 3 seconds of running a route. I mean, these guys are doing these square outs when they need to, some slants. It's just it looks faster, to your point, and it's controlling the tempo. Even the Chargers have a new offensive coordinator. It's tempo. Like how? I'm like why? And I'm like some of the same plays that I see us try to do. It just doesn't look coordinated well enough. It looks choreographed weirdly, or it's executed weirdly in its choreography. And it's some of that's tempo, and Justin needs to get the tempo going, man.
Like I can honestly say this, and everyone's throwing around the screenshot of the seam route with the running back being wide open. But realistically, Justin should have been sacked too before that ball should have been thrown. He literally just had so much time, but the running back ran the route slow. He got out slow, which JT O'Sullivan points out that Cole Kmet actually cut him off from getting up
was
there.
killing us yesterday.
Another F up. But like the seam route even came slower than it should have.
Stop cutting guys off, Cole.
Like the seam route even came slower than it should have. Yes, Justin is at fault there because the guy was open when he still had some time. But damn, he shouldn't even had that much time. Like that was insane.
Okay, that's
no,
fine.
no,
But
no,
he's
no. I get
still
that. No, I get that. I'm not absolved. I'm just saying, like, just looking at these guys and them route running it's they're not getting out the blocks like there is a sense of urgency.
well.
They're
He's got
unsure. I think to your point, I think you said it earlier, Smoke. And as I've listened to you explain things more, your explanations now are just reinforcing your earlier statement, and that's everybody looks like they're confused. Everyone,
Yeah.
when you have confusion or uncertainty, you're not moving with the same sense of speed, which we see as maybe lack of urgency, but it's more like I'm not certain, or I think this is where I'm supposed to be, or I think this is how this works, or just something along those lines. And you look even the team we played yesterday, even the team Tampa Bay. It wasn't like Baker was killing us downfield. It was a lot of short passes, but those guys knew where they're going. Baker got the ball out of his hands quick. He knew where to go. Even when we pressured him, he knew where everybody was, and he was sidearm a pass here, sidearm a pass there. Even when the plays got disrupted and he was on the run for his life, he wasn't he was still patient in his urgency, if that makes any sense. You know, he was being pressured, but he wasn't playing like he was distraught by the pressure. Because that pass he made to Evans that went down the field on the sidelines, like, dude, that should never have happened. That was a third down. It's like 3rd and 17 or 3rd and 18, something like that. That should never have happened. And that would have been a great time to get off the field and still be able to do something. But he played under control. He played with knowledge. He played with experience. And Justin, on top of everything else, is still inexperienced in terms of his nuances at being a quarterback. There are other things besides throwing a damn ball and having the physical gifts to be, special on the field. You've got to be able to play the position. And right now, Justin, nobody else, he is doing a poor job of playing the position. There's a lot of nuances. It's controlling, say managing the game, okay, whatever, controlling the game, controlling the flow, being in charge. He's not in charge of himself, let alone the teammates around him. And that indecisiveness is pervading through every essence of the offensive structure and its efficiency out there on the field. And that's a problem. And that's where's the coaching? That's where it becomes a tail or chicken egg or whatever. Where's the coaching? Because if we can see this as fans, if JT O'Sullivan can point this out as a former NFL professional and person who is astute at what quarterbacks should and shouldn't do, or how they can be more effective, blah, blah, blah. What are the coaches on staff who are there day in and day out? What are they doing? I can't believe Justin is a difficult person to coach. He doesn't seem like he's hard-headed. Doesn't seem like he comes across that way. He seems like he's coachable.
I think he needs to be.
You think
I
he
don't
needs
know.
to
Need to go Willie Beeman.
Maybe.
Well, I think this is where Eberflus has to come in and earn his money right here. This I think back. Remember 2010. Lovey gets forced to bring in Mike Martz as offensive coordinator, and Mike Martz tries to bring the greatest show on turf to Chicago. Got rid of all the tight ends.
Brought in Orlando Pace, who's 75 years old at the time.
Yeah. And yeah. Oh, wait, was that 2010?
Well, the year doesn't matter, but we get what you're saying.
No, I'm trying because I'm thinking Greg Olsen was still there. But anyway.
Greg Olsen was there for a moment. Yeah.
Long story short, Lovey, at a point in the season where the offense wasn't doing anything, Lovey came in and said, "Hey, let's simplify this thing. We're going to run the ball more. We're going to take away the 7-step drop that Jay Cutler's doing and getting crushed because our offensive line was terrible." And March listened, and this team ended up getting to an NFC title game.
Right.
2011, we started off again with the Mike Martz offense, and then a few games in, Lovey said, "Hey,
Thanks.
we need to go back and simplify this again. We're going to run the ball more. We're going to take away the 7-step drops." And the Bears went on a 5-game winning streak with 7-3, and then Cutler broke his thumb, and the rest was history. Long story short,
we look just like we started last year.
Yeah. So now Flus has to come in and say, "Hey, this is not working. We got to switch things up a little bit. We got to play to Justin's strengths."
This is where he gets
to earn his money right here.
This is where he
and this is the perfect week to do it.
Because I will say,
if you don't, you might get embarrassed on national television on Sunday afternoon.
And I will say, the GM, you touched on it. I will give Flus credit. The defense looked better under him than it has under Alan Williams.
Without four of his defensive backs?
Yeah, I will give him that credit. They that second half was.
It was crazy. They gave up over 400 yards of offense.
And that all really came in that first half.
They didn't break. Yeah,
a lot of that came in that first half. You had Williams had Mike Evans had like 2 or 3 big plays.
Mike Evans is so good, man.
Yeah, they had 300 yards of offense, I think, at the end of the first half, like 290 something at the end of the first half.
So, and I was impressed by Flus defense, but like you say, this is where he has to earn his money. Like, you have to step in and put your foot down. Like, we can't wait till what did we wait till last year? That was
5, 6,
7.
Yeah, it's
something like that.
I think it was week 7 that we played New England.
Yeah, when we played New England.
You play against Tampa Bay you play against the Chiefs like you played against Tampa Bay, or even the Packer game. You're gonna get blitzed.
That's the other thing too. I'm funny you should mention that. Watching the game with Tampa Bay and Minnesota the week before, it was like, okay, so when Minnesota's in shotgun, they're blitzing first down. They're blitzing because they're like, oh, shotgun. Okay. When Minnesota's underneath center, they didn't blitz as much. And I'm like, did you not see that in your scouting?
But I said that last week. I said we're not under center enough. No rollouts, no bootlegs. Everything is straight dropbacks. Even the play actions suck. And we're not running many of them.
Which may lead to Justin's lazy feet too, because if you're on the center more, you gotta your footwork needs to be getting better when you do your drop back. If you're in a shotgun, you're not really doing much of a drop back. You know what I mean? So that could be part of where his feet just
get more aggressive with shotgun and get more depth. Like I said last week.
Is he used to being under center? These kids don't. You don't grow up playing under center. A lot of our
success came from him being under center.
I'm not arguing that. I'm just saying.
Look, man,
how does he get acclimated to that?
That's what coaching in preseason. I mean, all the things they apparently aren't stressing enough. I think they take it for granted.
One thing we could see that they don't coach, because we saw it last year and we're seeing it this year, they ain't coaching his ability to run.
No.
They're not coaching that. So that's why we're in the same position to start this year. This is what they've been coaching. They're not coaching what makes him special. Like, nah, we're not gonna coach that run shit. You clearly can do that on your own. But imagine if they actually honed in on it.
Well, don't coach it out of him.
That's what I'm saying. But I feel he's embracing that because he wants to prove people wrong. Like, F them people. Like, you had a stretch where you were 30 a game. At that point, the world saw that the defense was not supporting. You showed you could put up points. I could care less how many yards you throw for. if you're scoring 30 points a game, legit 30 points a game. Like, but he want to prove to the people he can throw the ball. And hey, you're going to find yourself throwing to your nephews and nieces. You ain't going to be on nobody's roster.
By the way, the Bears quarterback coach is Andrew Janocko. This is his second year with the Bears. Before this year, he was the quarterback coach for the Vikings for a season in 2021. So he coached Kirk Cousins. Before that, he was a wide receivers coach for the Vikings. Before that, he was an assistant offensive line coach for the Vikings. I don't like that.
He just kept getting them promotions.
And he did play quarterback in high school.
Oh, at some point there was a quarterback thing about. Well, you know what, man? I mean, I don't think that's too unusual because you look at the DC for Tampa Bay yesterday, and that's Dave Canales. Now he's with the Seahawks for a really long time. So he started off as a wide receiver coach for like 7 years, from 2010 to 2017. Then he was their quarterback coach for 2 years, from 2018 and 2019. And he was a pass game coordinator for 20 seasons, 2020 and 2021 season. And then he was a quarterback coach for the 2022 season. And now he's DC with the Bucs. But when you watch what he did this past week, and actually, if you compare what he did the week before to this week, he talked about wanting to run the ball and stuff, but he was passing a little bit heavier at the beginning of the game last week against the Vikings. And towards the end of the game, they balanced it out with the run pass. They won that game. This week, they stayed with the run. And they didn't always look, the Bears. Here's the thing that was so frustrating about the Bears defense. What they did on third down negated all the good they did on first and second down. And even sometimes when they gave up 5 or 6 or 7 yards on a rushing play, the very next play, they only gave it maybe 1 or 2 yards a lot of the times. And then there were times where obviously they had the Bucs in second and long and to third and long, but then they gave up what they did. So with that being said, the Buccaneers still kept with running the ball. They still kept giving the ball to not just to Rashard White, but also to Sean Tucker. So they kept with that part of their game plan. But again, they did some things to help Baker out. They rolled a little, because Baker's a short quarterback. He's got some liabilities he has to contend with. His height's one of those things. His inability at times to be patient. There are times where Baker, you could tell he's got that gunslinger mentality, and he wants to rip it. But coaching and maybe the reality of being bounced around in the NFL humbled his ass a little bit, because against the Bears, he was extremely patient.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't look like he was, playing frantically at all. Even when he was pressured, he was very much in control. But again, it wasn't like he was throwing 40-yard bombs. I think he had maybe 1 or 2 deep passes, but for the most part, those were like 7 to 12-yard passes he was making. But it kept the change. And the running game kept the Bears. That's another thing too. People aren't factoring in with the Bears not applying a lot of pressure. It's like, sometimes, the running game, you on the field. They had 3 different series of the Buccaneers where I think they went double-digit play calls. Like the first one was 12-play drive. They had another 12-play drive. I think they had like an 11-play drive. Out there in that heat, man, that stuff is sapping. You're not going to be able to get upfield as much as you'd like to all the time. So, point being, I'm getting off track here. Point being, offensive coordinator, you've got to do things to take control of not just your quarterback, but control of your offense and how it's being implemented. And maybe that's why we see some of these screens, like you said before. Maybe there's stuff Justin's not doing. So in game, look, this is what I have to go with, because that's always. But I'm saying you as an offensive coordinator, you can have more than just one punch. You could be able to counter punch.
I'm not buying that.
Yeah, I agree, man.
I agree. Because the whole narrative last year was he couldn't hit the layups. All he could do was throw the ball downfield. Now he can't throw the damn ball downfield. I'm not buying that they're trying to protect him. Like, what it's looking like, they broke him.
I hope not.
I wouldn't say broke, but I get what you're saying. It looks like they're affecting him naked in a regressing kind of match. There's some regression we're seeing here, or potential confidence that's making him doubt himself, and you don't want that.
Because I'm looking at week 1, it was just check down, check down, check down. Week 2, I felt every ball that he was holding on when he had that amount of time, he was looking for the check down. Like he wasn't even looking upfield on those balls. Like what is going on in these meetings that y'all telling him? Because that one play that everyone is loving to call, he focused on the sideline for so long. He never looked upfield. So what is being said? Hit the layup. Like,
this week they need the emphasis needs to be get rid of the football.
Well, we just gotta hope
1, 2, presence. 3, ball should be out.
Yeah.
Well, what's going to negate Nagy, dude. You know what this is what negates Nagy. Do y'all know what? Do you know what negates Nagy? Even when he was the OC before he became the Bears head coach, this one thing negated Nagy.
What?
And it's not Mahomes. It's not Mahomes. You would think it's Mahomes, but it's not Mahomes. Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce solves everybody's problems. When Nagy was an offensive coordinator, quote unquote, that playoff game at home, when Alex Smith was still the quarterback at the time, they're leading and beating the Tennessee Titans by double digits going into halftime. Kelce gets hurt right before half, doesn't come back. And keep in mind, Kareem Hunt was an rookie offensive player of the year that year. Come back and they lose in regulation to the Tennessee Titans, led by Marcus Mariota. And somehow that propelled him into being a head coach of the Chicago Bears. Travis Kelce wasn't there week 1 against the Lions. And I know there were some drop passes. If those drop passes didn't happen, the Chiefs probably beat the Lions. But having Travis Kelce there probably would have negated the interception that was picked off. Because it wouldn't bounce out of the dude's hands. He would have caught it. Kelce would have caught it. And as we saw last week, as bad as that offense looks, because keep in mind, the Chiefs are still averaging under 20 points a game. And the only thing that's different off that offensive team is that the former offensive coordinator, quote unquote, who can't offensive coordinate, is now taking the Washington Commanders to 2-0 start.
Got Sam Howell looking.
With Sam Howell, quarterback who's played less than 7 professional games, not started, played less than 7 professional games. It only started 4, maybe 3. And on the road, in the thin air of Mile High Stadium in Denver against a talented defensive team, whether or not they're being coached that way, there's talent. Down 21-3, they still found a way to win that game. And they're averaging about 27, 28 points a game. So Travis Kelce is healthy. He is going to keep Nagy from Nagying up the team. And that's the thing. So look, if I'm the Bears, I don't worry about anybody else on that offensive receiving core or in the offensive receiving core. I bracket Kelce and I have a third person hover above his head. just cause.
Watch he get wide open so many times.
Well, if it is, it's because Travis ran a different route and he and Mahomes are symbiotically connected. So they'll find a way to make it happen. Because that's dude, some of those play calls that the Chiefs made against Detroit, and I'm sure I didn't watch the other game yet, but the ones where they struggled to score 17 points against the Jaguars, it's got Nagy written all over it. That's what Nagy does. He averages 17 points a game. That's what this offense does.
Is he calling the plays?
We don't know if he is, but he has his stink all over it too. It just has his smell. It just has that perfidious odor of a Nagy, infused offense. How you averaging 10 points less, dude? Oh, you played the Detroit defense, which is better, but it's not Steelers. It's not the Ravens.
Seahawks just went crazy on them.
Seahawks, right? On the road, the Seahawks just went crazy on them. And you play the Jacksonville Jaguars, who gave up like 3 scores to a rookie quarterback who runs the ball. I mean, it's not a shame to run the ball. Stop. That's Nagy stink, dude.
If I'm Flus, I'm saying limit to two screens a half. That's it.
What? That's the other thing.
I don't
to
see
your
no
point.
more.
Doing things 2 times, like we hear Coach Wanstead say it every week. Throw deep at least twice a half. Just air it out.
Just don't get a penalty on it. We ain't got Randy Moss, okay? Get a penalty on it and then rerun the same shit. I'm just saying it's this. No, everybody won't blame Justin, but it's some.
Well, there's a lot of
stuff going on.
Blame. I don't want Justin to get absolved from.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't. Like
I said, honeymoon's over. He's gonna get some criticism now.
He deserves just as much criticism, but that entire offense looks lost.
Yes.
That to me puts so much at the feet of the OC. And you touched on this is a coach's opportunity to bring this back together. Like,
say that one more time.
This is the head coach's opportunity to bring everything back together. Get all this stuff under control, like, because they just look lost entirely. I really wish I can be in this film room to watch how many people should be getting chewed out. Like, because it's so many people that are at fault on so many different occasions.
When Claypool comes out smelling better than most of the other receivers.
Yeah.
And he still had his F-ups.
Yeah, well, they're blocking too soon on the screen.
Blocking routes. He still had his mess up. Like, it's weird.
It's not crisp, man. And that, like you said, that comes back to the OC and the position coaches. The guys have to know what they're doing. They got to be held accountable. Everyone wants to get on Eric Bieniemy because he's holding people accountable. Well, that's just making a difference when you have a team. And here's the thing, you look at the Jets right now, and there's no faith in Wilson at all. Like, he's garbage, Like, but who's offensive coordinator? Who's offensive coordinator? Hackett. Hackett is not going to make you look better if you're not good. He's going to make you look worse. If you're good, he can make you look bad.
It's so bad. I get it that we have our feelings.
Russell Wilson looks better than he did last year. I'm saying Russell Wilson looked worse last year. He looks a little bit better this year. He actually looks a lot better. That loss outside of the fumble, he had a pretty good game last week. But my point that I'm trying to make is Aaron Rodgers is a veteran wide receiver. 20 years or whatever many years in the league. Quarterback. He knows how to get he knows how to get the receivers where they need to be. He understands how stuff's supposed to work. The timing that you can see, even when you watch Hard Knocks, you can tell, like, hey, you need to be here at this time. Brady did the same thing when he got to Tampa. Hey, your feet make a big difference if you're here on 5 on the count of 2, as opposed to when you're here on 5 on the count of 3, or whatever it is, making your cuts here as opposed to at 5 yards, you need to make it at 7 yards because of the timing. All that stuff. You're talking about Brady, Rodgers, Manning was, fanatical about that. Those are veteran quarterbacks that even if the offensive coordinator may be lacking in some aspect, those guys will hold receivers accountable. They know how to get them to practice. They know Justin doesn't know how to do that yet. He doesn't. He's not as advanced. He's not as experienced. And so all of this is what the OC, a good OC, has to know how to do. And it is clear based on everything we've seen, what the JT O'Sullivans of the world have said, what the Brandon Smoke Williams have said. These guys don't look crisp or sharp because they don't seem like they're understanding everything. They don't have an understanding of when and where they're supposed to be and how to get there.
I want to touch on I want to go back to the Jets real quick with Zach Wilson. The man, the world is so cruel. When they hate you, they hate you. That dude played better. I mean, I think he played better against the damn Cowboys than Daniel Jones. But look how Daniel Jones looked after playing them Cowboys versus playing them. Cowboys is for real, people. I ain't that much of a believer in Zach Wilson, but give him a chance after that Cowboys team. The Cowboys is for real over there. Damn, what else I was about to say? I actually lost my train of thought after that. I think I was about to say something.
Jets Hackett made him look worse. I don't know. Oh, they didn't run the ball either. How you gonna have Breece Hall have 120 some odd yards, and then you just give him 5 carries the next day against the Dallas Cowboy thing? That's the thing too. Know what your opponent's doing. That's what I want to say. I'm sorry, I forgot about that. You during the game, the coaches have to be able to realize and see where a team might have a vulnerability or a weakest linked aspect that's happening out there on the field. And yesterday with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense, Luke Gedeke, their right guard, was messing up. And he's not even experienced at that position. I think he was somewhere else last year. He making mistakes the week before against Minnesota. The Bears should have been, a lot of their pressure should have been focused on that area over there, whether it was with stunts or some slants or overloading that side to force things to happen. They didn't take advantage of that. Also, Carlton Davis didn't play. You should have been taking advantage of DJ Moore even more so because their best defender was not there, was not present.
Mooney had no targets yesterday.
I don't think did Mooney play.
That's what I think he got hurt.
Yeah, he got hurt. I don't think his knee. Yeah. I don't think he played the whole game.
I don't remember hearing nothing about that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he didn't play the whole game.
Maybe that's a fact. We know that.
No, I don't know. No excuses.
Well, I'm talking about
the miscommunications on routes and things.
That still shouldn't happen. That still shouldn't happen. There are teams that have 3-4 guys missing, and their offense runs like clockwork. So I'm not. Guys are out. Hey, next man steps up. You're professionals. You should know this stuff. You went through training camp. You went through OTAs. I
don't think he's absolving them. He's saying that's adding to it.
Yes, absolutely. I understand. And I'm saying that should not be. That's not the excuse. No,
it's not an excuse. No, he's saying that this compounded. It's compound interest because now guys were already struggling, but now these guys, because they're not prepared, they're getting out there, and because it isn't Mooney, it's gotten even worse.
So
free
EQ, right. Man. Free EQ. What are they doing? Free EQ.
Did he play?
No, he was inactive.
He was inactive again? Yeah. Why is he inactive?
I don't know, bro. Because I mean, like I saw Velus in uniform. I saw him congratulate Claypool on a touchdown. That's about all I saw of Velus.
He ran. He had that one reverse. Yeah, he had that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Did it go anywhere?
No, he lost like 4 yards. Okay. It wasn't his fault though.
The whole commit. That's the one he didn't block. Yes.
Yeah. But the world knows when you see Velus coming across, that's what's going on.
Right.
It's Devontae Davis said they knew so many of the Bears' plays before they ran.
So hopefully this is a chance for them.
It's a wake up call.
Yeah.
It's an indictment.
They got the 325 game, so they got a couple extra hours, to prepare. Hopefully they have a better game plan against the Chiefs. You can only hope.
Defense has been looking good so far too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. How about we talk about something that's a little entertaining? And that's the Colorado Buffaloes who got a little scare
They
got a little
did.
scare in Boulder with Colorado State. I think sometimes you gotta, as a team, you gotta humble yourself. And I think Game Day was there. What's the Fox's show? Big Noon.
Big noon.
Big Noon
Big noon
Saturday
kickoff.
was there. The Pat McAfee show was there. First Take was there. Everybody was there. It was
Hey,
in Boulder.
can I touch on something real quick?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
ESPN just don't give a damn what Pat McAfee do they?
No,
Oh my God.
he's saying whatever he wants. Whatever he wants.
Good
He get
Lord.
F-bombs.
I'm like, am I hearing this?
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
this on ESPN or
At 11 o'clock in the morning. I was
I'm-
like, wow. They don't
I
care.
was in shock.
And they put in a disclaimer saying that, hey, you're gonna hear some foul language at the beginning of the show. It doesn't matter. They're on cable.
I was getting my hair cut and my barber was playing it. And I'm like, this has to be on YouTube. This cannot be live on ESPN.
Live on ESPN. I guess he must have negotiated in his deal.
Y'all gonna take me off of YouTube and let me talk like I talk.
Man, that's crazy. That's crazy. Meanwhile, I had to bleep out Mike Clevenger today because he used the F-bomb during post game at
Baseball
night.
Season still going on.
Somehow it still is, man. I'm so tired of the White Sox. Anyway, Colorado. Back to Colorado. I think they felt themselves, and Colorado State came out and hit them in the mouth a couple times.
Awful.
Literally.
Yeah.
Kept doing it the whole game.
For real.
Like, personal calls.
Took out
Hunter.
Travis Hunter.
He's out for 3 weeks.
Out for 3 weeks. A lacerated liver, man. That's gotta hurt, man. And it was a dirty hit though. You can't.
It was very dirty.
It was dirty.
Surprise! Seeing him against Oregon and USC.
Dude didn't. He only got the 15-yard penalty. No ejection. No suspension.
On that hit.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
But the refs didn't do a good enough job stopping that before it got even more craze. Because Colorado State kept doing those things, and that Kamara guy should have been thrown out before he even did, or at least he got thrown out at the end, but that was like his third, I think, personal foul.
Yeah,
it's like, come on, man. Clearly, you should have given him a warning or something, like one more and you're out, that before it led to that thing. Because I thought Shador was done for the game after that hit, because his arm moved limply. I was like, man, dude, either he collarbone, he fell on him or something. But I'm sorry. Go ahead, as you were saying.
Oh no. But yeah, they were able to come back in the fourth quarter, tied it up in the last 2 minutes, and then went to overtime and took care of business in double overtime. It was a fun game to watch, and kept me entertained until 1 a.m. That was the first time I didn't watch. Stayed up all night to watch a West Coast Pac-12 game in a long time.
Yeah.
So, what do you think about this team, man?
They need somebody who's 6 foot, 220 pounds as a running back, because they cannot move the pile when they need to get tough yards. And that's going to really start to hurt them when conference play begins with some of the good defenses like Oregon State, Washington. When they get into conference play, Utah.
Defense stinks.
Yeah.
I think for whatever reason, I don't know if it's coaching or what, and Colorado State was killing them ad nauseum with all those underneath crossing routes and mesh this.
Never seen so many of them in my life.
Oh my! It's worse than playing a video game. Which is like,
I was sitting there like, damn, Bears need to do this.
Well, most teams, you see teams stop it for whatever reason, Colorado, I don't know if they just stay in man all the time and they keep getting picked off. That's the reason. But they were doing a very poor job of it the entire game. I mean, Colorado, it looked like when you play a kid on Madden, like online, and he's doing the same play. Oh, like, come on, dude, like pick another play. Like, come on, man. Mesh left. Okay, mesh right. I get it. Mesh left. Okay, I get. That's all they kept doing. I mean, that was insane. So other teams and other thing that I see where it's going to be problematic for them. Nebraska kind of sort of began it. Colorado State did it to almost a thuggish degree, and that is be extremely physical, be uncompromisingly physical with the receivers because they're not very big, and make them hurt. And if you make them hurt, at some point they'll break. We almost saw them break. Colorado was just more talented, clearly more talented. And that tight end became the de facto, superhero person that needed at the end to make those plays because Hunter wasn't there any longer.
Couldn't break that big mo.
No. But I will say this, with all that attention that Colorado got this past week and still persevering, and the fact that Dion is putting money in everybody's hand. It's like that scene from from Devil in a Blue Dress, where Mouse, played by Don Cheadle, says to Easy, played by Denzel Washington, as he's getting ready to leave. Hey, Easy, hey man, you know how to put money in a motherfucker's pocket. And that's exactly what Dion's doing, because everybody is eating up in there. The administration is happy. And culturally speaking, all those people that thought it might be an issue with a person of Dion's personality and a place that seemed culturally 180 degrees different than Dion in Colorado. The administration is very happy. The city of Boulder is very happy. And a lot of other people are happy because Dion is putting money in people's hands. And that's going to bring more talent because these guys are going to be like, I want to be seen. I want to be coached by, coaches that are putting players into the pros, blah, blah, blah. Dion keeps taking every opportunity to say, hey, what did you say? All those recruits, are you listening to what they're saying? He must have said about 8,000 times over the past week. So they need beef up front on offense and defensive line. They'll get it next year. But I think this team will probably win 7 games, maybe 8. They're about to hit a 2-game losing streak, though. That's what I think.
Yeah, I agree on what you said at the end. Because what I saw, that defense, Shador is going to have to play the perfect game. If not against Oregon, definitely against Caleb Williams and USC. I don't see that defense stopping them not one damn time. Unless Caleb Williams do something stupid and just throw a pick trying to be extra. Like,
if Hunter was there, that might happen. But him not being there, like you said, it's probably not gonna happen.
But I did, to speak on that game, although Colorado State, they muddied it up. They did dirty things.
Mm-hmm.
Borderline dirty things.
Mm-hmm.
They muddied it up and made it interesting. One thing for me, they backed up their coach.
Mm-hmm. Colorado State.
They backed up their coach.
They did.
We yes, the stuff was dirty. I don't agree with it. I don't like it. But them boys went out and they fought for their coach. I respect it. To Colorado, the resilience that we saw from them was huge in my eye. Now, granted, it doesn't propel them to being a national title contender because, like we just said, they're going to lose to Oregon and USC. They're not beating those teams.
They might lose to Arizona State and they might lose to Oregon State.
You think Arizona State they lose? I don't think Arizona State. I watched them play.
Physical.
Even though my nephew goes to Arizona State, but
and here's the thing,
Kavion Thunderbird.
Well, here's the thing too. It's when you catch a team like if they played Arizona State next week, I think they beat them. But they're gonna be playing
I'd be
Arizona
rooting.
State.
Now I tell you, I'm rooting for Arizona State, like I just said, but I just don't. I just don't
they
know.
got a Bronco. I'm with Arizona State in that game.
They're playing Arizona State after Oregon and USC. This team is we don't know how good their depth is yet because we haven't really seen it. But I don't know if their depth is polished. Even if it's talented, I don't know how polished they are to deal with the talent they'll be facing when it comes to Oregon and USC. And the reason why I say this because you don't see a lot of you see a lot of same players playing most of the games. You're not seeing like waves of players coming in. So that means the starters are playing a lot of minutes.
Only position you see multiple guys is at the running back position, and they can't run the ball at all.
Yeah, it's just mainly two guys, and they're not big enough to push them out. The receivers, you see a little bit of it, but not as much. I mean, there's still talent on the team, but it's they're about a couple of years away from challenging on a national level.
I'm curious to see, if they do lose to Oregon and to USC, how resilient they're going to be.
Beyond that,
with a 2-game losing streak, we haven't seen a Deion coach team play after a 2-game losing streak. I think their only losses at Jackson State, they lost to, was it Louisiana Tech? One of the Louisiana schools, I think. Don't quote me on that, but it was against a 1A team or a FBS team. They were supposed to lose. But actually, Jackson State kept it pretty respectable. So they lost that game. They went undefeated in the SWAC 2 straight years, and the only losses were in that Celebration Bowl. So we didn't get to see what happened back to back. Right, that was the end of the season. It's going to be interesting to see what Like I said, they might mess around and keep these games close. Yeah, you never know.
One thing we do know, they don't play much defense.
No, they don't
on the Pac-12 either.
They don't.
That's not true.
Well, the teams we're talking about.
USC don't have a defense.
I understand. Washington has a
defense. They don't play.
Arizona State has a defense.
Washington.
They don't play right. They don't play Washington.
Oregon State has a pretty good defense too. I do believe they play Oregon State. Yeah,
they do have Oregon State.
They do.
Yeah.
What about Utah?
Utah always has a good defense.
Yeah.
Whether or not it's great is maybe not be the case, but it's always a good defense. So, yeah, they're like I said, 4 losses, maybe 5. Still, man.
No, that's still
4, 7-5.
Yeah. Hey, I had them winning 3 games. So
he tripled the win total last year already.
Yeah.
I mean, let's
I had them winning 3 and they already there. So
he tripled
everything else is gravy, in my opinion.
He can lose the rest of the way. He improved the program.
And I got my sweatshirt and I might be going for the sunglasses too.
Yeah, dude, I'm with you on that one. Those sunglasses look kind of sharp when you put them on the rock.
They're slick, man. They're called blenders.
Blenders. I wouldn't be surprised if that man Norvell was a part of the promotion. I would not be surprised.
You're so cynical.
Well, Deion was on the Rich Eisen show, and Rich asked him. He said, "Was this planned?" And
he's not gonna admit that.
And so no. Deion said he said that the sunglasses deal was already in effect, and they were going to come out with it this week. But then Norvell said what he said.
He told that man,
and he said, "You know what? We got to run with it."
He told that man to do that.
He said he definitely said that he pushed it because of the deal.
Man,
so I think he made it more than it probably should have been.
Man, he gave that man a cut.
It wouldn't shock me.
We'd never know. He gave that man a cut.
They sold $1.2 million worth of sunglasses.
Man, that man got a cut of that. And if if that man promoted that man glasses just off pure hate, he's an idiot.
$1.2 million in sunglasses, and the sunglasses they're not going to get these things until December. These are just pre-orders.
Pre-orders. That's crazy.
That man, if that man did that without being smart about it, he's an idiot.
Oh man. I wonder what was said during the handshake. Because I guess they had a handshake and Shedeur tried to get in the middle, but then Deion sort of pushed him out the way, and they did hug and gave a bro hug and went on. But
because I feel like the man gained Deion's respect.
You think so?
I think. I mean that they were 23-point favorites?
24.
And you went to double overtime? Like he like if it's anybody that can respect the man getting his team up for the challenge, it's Deion.
Yeah.
Like if anybody can respect that, it's him. Like he got them boys up for the challenge, and they came out there and almost shocked. Granted, we don't believe Colorado is legit that good, but if they would have beat Colorado that Saturday, the world would have been shocked.
Yeah, and it would have been a lot of, and it would have been a lot of the haters coming out of the woodworks. Yeah.
So I think he gained Deion's respect. And yeah.
All right. Now I got a little bit of a hate take here. I know it's gonna come out as hate, but I totally believe this. Colorado fans should not have rushed the field after the win against Colorado State.
You posted that on Facebook. Was that?
I did. Yeah.
That was. Yeah. I saw that on Facebook from somebody. Okay.
Yeah. I'm sorry. That's little brother. You're supposed to do that. You were 24-point favorites. Now I understand you only won one game last year.
Yeah, I think that had a lot to do with it, and they lost to them last year too.
Okay, but you're supposed
to lose. They lost to Colorado
State last year. Yeah. You're supposed to beat Colorado State. No reason to rush. Now I understand why you rushed the field against Nebraska. It was the first win of the era, and
another rivalry.
First home game. Rivalry. Nebraska is a rival. It was the first win. I get it. Makes sense.
Well, if you lost to them last year and then you win in that fashion, I think.
But you're supposed to.
I didn't know they lost to them last year.
Colorado never should lose to Colorado State.
It's like Iowa losing to Iowa State.
Well, not even that, because at least they're on the same. They're on the same plane. It's like Illinois losing to Illinois State.
Not that bad.
It is.
Is it? Illinois State's like Division FCS. It's not the same thing.
It's it's Ohio State losing to Cincinnati.
Okay, I'll buy that.
Cincinnati was in the playoff.
True,
but they don't play each other.
but
they don't play each other every year though.
Hold on, let me get a better one. Let me get a better one.
They don't. You got to pick a rivalry. So Michigan shouldn't run out. Michigan State's probably the better.
No, that's not, because they're on the same level. That could go either way every year.
Yeah, but Colorado hasn't been a bastion. Look, again, I guess I'm just old enough to remember when Colorado was as bad as Northwestern.
It's Texas losing to Rice. Yeah.
Maybe I guess it's to Houston.
It's nothing's going to make us think that way, because Colorado hasn't been good.
Houston's a perennial top 25 team. Colorado State,
Houston's never top 25.
But Colorado hasn't been good in so long.
Thank you.
They were a bowl team in this decade.
Who's not a bowl team in this decade is?
I'm just saying they won 6 games in a season.
Northwestern's been a bowl team. Are you going to tell me Northwestern is traditionally powerful?
Over the last 15 years, they've been close to it.
Traditionally powerful.
They've been the 2 Big Ten championships.
Traditionally powerful. Every dog has its day.
That's because
Colorado ain't been good in a while.
Northwestern was god awful for 2 decades.
Colorado used to be god awful.
I look at Colorado State like Louisiana Tech versus ULM. I know y'all probably don't know ULM.
No, because they're on the same level.
But Colorado hasn't been good.
Colorado is a Power 5.
Let's say this: if Colorado hadn't shocked the world,
Colorado won a national championship once.
If Colorado hadn't shocked the world and beat TCU and barely beat Nebraska, would they have been a double-digit favorite versus?
No, they wouldn't have.
It's all because of what they did the first 2 games.
They wouldn't have. But that's part of it.
I get it. But
I just thought they should have waited for.
I would have been on your side if Glenn didn't say they lost to them last year. I didn't know that. I didn't know that Colorado lost to Colorado State last year. So that took me off your side.
Wait, let me make sure. Hold on. Let's see how bad. How bad? 2022. No, they didn't play each other last year.
Okay, so I'm back on your side.
They didn't play each other last year.
Well, what about the year before?
Let's see, 2021. No.
Well, then that may be why they rushed it. It's been a long time since that rivalry happened.
2020 was the COVID year. They didn't play. Let's see. Maybe they did. No, they didn't play. 2019. The last time they played each other was 2019. Colorado beat Colorado State 52-31.
Okay. I'm on their side.
2018, Colorado beat Colorado State 45-13. 2017, Colorado won 17-3.
All right, fine. You're right.
2016, Colorado beat Colorado State 44-7. It's little brother. They shouldn't have been rushing the field.
I'm with ass.
Shouldn't have been rushing the field. I'm sorry. Now, if you want to save it for USC when USC comes to town in 2 weeks and you beat them, I'm all for it. Everybody should come out. And you know why they didn't expect it? Because remember the Nebraska game, they got Dion off the field just to make sure, because of the amputation, and he's not walking as quickly as he was. They wanted to get him off the field to make sure, he was safe, right? Remember that? They didn't do that Saturday night.
He's at home.
Exactly. They were both home games.
No, it was a weak argument.
I know.
They weren't expecting it either. Because that's Colorado State. We won't be bum rushing the field.
Exactly.
Oh,
all right. So that's my argument. I'm sticking to it. I'm not hating on Colorado. I'm a Colorado fan. I was cheering for Dion on Saturday night because I did not want to see him lose and then, take the brunt of
not to that team.
These idiot media guys talking about. See, I told you so. Especially that Jason Whitlock guy.
It's a goofy.
Yeah. So there you have it.
It's like goddamn Mad Dog.
Don't rush the field against teams you're supposed to beat. Argument over. Let's go to picks. I suck. You guys are really good at this. I'm gonna take you guys' bets. Though in real life, I hit a parlay this week.
Congrats.
I hit a parlay and I made some money on Colorado.
Oh.
Yeah.
You took state?
I did no. I took I did an in-game money line bet. and won a couple bucks.
Nice.
Because I knew once Colorado got it within a score, I was like, they're gonna win this game. So here we go. Last week I went 2-1, and you guys both were perfect. 3-0s.
Let's go.
Good for you guys.
Does that mean I'm 6-0 starting out?
You are 6-0, my friend.
Yeah. Only one I remember I had was Penn State.
You had Penn State. You had the Cowboys -3. And you had the Washington Commanders +3.5. So that's a good pick. Glenn, you had Penn State. You had the Cowboys as well, and you had the Chief, who pulled off the win on Jacksonville. I went 2-1. I got the Cowboys. I got the Dolphins -2 and their win, and I lost with the Packers, who were -1. Vegas is amazing, by the way. Packers, they had the Packers at -1, and they ended up losing by 1.
Damn.
So you're 2-4 is?
So I am 3-3. Smoke, you are 4-2, and Glenn, you're 6-0. So
I don't know if we've ever had a moment where we were at least all 500 and above.
You might be right. Yeah.
Week 1. We both started all 0-0.
Damn. Take some risks this time.
All right, let's do this. I'm gonna stick with this this NFL thing since I went 2-1. I'm gonna start with the Vikings +1. Ooh. Oh, excuse me, they're -1. They're giving the Chargers 1, so I'm gonna take the Vikings. I'm gonna take the Texans +9 against the Jaguars. And
you got +9 or 9.5? You said Caesars, right?
Is it 9.5? Oh, it's 9.5. You're right. 9.5.
That half counts.
Yeah, you're right. And I'm gonna follow you guys' lead. I'm taking the boys -12.5 against the Cardinals.
That's a big number. That's a big number.
Yeah.
The Josh Dobbs led Cardinals.
Who, by the way, had a better game than one Justin Fields last week.
The 12.5.
12.5. Yep.
-12.5.
Smoke, who you got?
Take a chance here. We just talked about him.
Saquon's out for 3 weeks, man.
Yeah, that's my damn running back fantasy. But Colorado's a -21-point underdog at Oregon.
21?
I'm gonna take Colorado +21.
Ooh.
I'm also gonna take the boys -12.5. I think I'm gonna go Falcons +3.5 on Detroit.
Really? Them Falcons, huh?
Well, went to overtime this week, right? Lost in overtime, right?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Seattle, right?
Yeah.
No, Seattle won in overtime.
Right, that's what I'm saying. They lost in overtime.
Oh, I thought you were saying Seattle. Yeah. The Lions lost in overtime. Yeah.
All right, so Colorado +21, Cowboys -12.5, and the Falcons +3.5. All right, Glenn, who you got?
I'm also going to jump on the Colorado +21 at Oregon.
Man, I feel left out.
I gotta imagine we're gonna see a different call. Like maybe that close call, losing Hunter, they'll approach the game a little bit differently. That's what I'm hoping. I'm putting faith in the coaching staff to coach differently against Oregon. I think they're a little overconfident against Colorado State. I'm going to. No one's talking about this team. They're looking really good. I'm going to take Notre Dame as a home dog.
Notre Dame.
I started to take that.
The dog against Ohio State.
That's what I was about to take instead of Colorado.
What's the line there?
3.5.
Minus 3.5 or plus 3.5?
I think they're going to be
3.5. They're the dogs, so plus 3.5.
All right.
I actually think they beat. I think they beat Ohio State.
I think so too. And I'm going to take another home dog. I'm going to go pro though. I was debating between Washington State home dog against Oregon State. I'm going to do pro. Sticking with the Washington theme, however. Take the Commanders as a home dog plus 6.5 against the Bills.
Commanders plus 6.5. All right.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, I got a big bet going. NC State in the money line over Virginia. Don't ask me why I'm doing that.
Virginia's going to lose.
Exactly. So, well, no, I took NC State.
That's what I'm saying. You took the money line.
That's why he said,
yeah, because Virginia's going to lose. The money line is just a win or loss, right?
Yeah. I'll tell you offline why I did that. So good luck, fellas. That's going to do it for this week's edition of the Easy Smoke and the GM podcast. I want to thank you. We want to thank you all for listening. Greatly appreciate it. You can catch our podcast at Apple Podcasts, Google, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you find your favorite podcast. You can also catch us at hp53productions.com. There you can find our podcast and also the Father Good podcast hosted by Marshall Givens and Kenny Stevenson, and the Super Duper podcast hosted by Rob Griggs and yours truly. Yo, Glenn.
Yeah.
Please take us out.
Hey, man. It's like we say around these parts. We ain't saying we're right. We just need the Bears to stop being so damn wrong.
Hopefully it's not an embarrassment in Kansas City. We'll catch you next week.